On MythBusters, a Titanic-sized legend. Will a sinking ship suck you down as it goes under?
The speed of descent was just like whoosh.
Are goldfish in a bowl bored or simply stupid?
No, not bag.
And does their memory last more than 3 seconds?
I got all the smart ones. He got all the stupid ones.
Don't blame me, I'm only the trombone player. A musical myth with highly explosive results.
It did hit him.
It's on fire.
Who are the MythBusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I always enjoyed seeing Adam in pain.
Oh!
And Jamie Heineman.
Jamie wants a big boom.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
Still kind of sexy.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Well, there's a myth that says that if you're on a ship when it's sinking, it'll suck you down with it.
You're telling me this thing, when it goes down, I'm gonna go down with it because it's gonna suck me down?
Yeah.
A sinking ship is every sailor's worst nightmare. Take this deliberate sinking in Canada. It graphically illustrates the force created when a large ship goes under. Heather Joseph Witham studies folklore, including harsh tales of the sea.
The idea is that if there's a large ship that's going to be sinking, the passengers need to get as far away from the ship as they possibly can, because the ship will go down in the water and a tremendous suction will be created, and it will draw anyone and anything down with it. When the Titanic went down, we have numerous accounts of people who were swimming or who were on lifeboats, and they all said, our lives were saved because we had some strong men rowing the boat and we got far away from the suction of the boat sinking.
Well, Jamie, what are we gonna test for this? What are the prevailing theories behind a boat sucking you down?
Well, apparently there are 3. And the first one is that air that mixes in with the water as it rushes up from the boat makes the water less dense. And so it's like you're gonna fall through the water quicker that way. The second theory is that the cavities in the ship will create an area for the water to rush in, and that'll pull you into the ship. And then the third one is that the ship moving through the water rapidly towards the bottom will create a vortex above it, kind of like drafting behind a truck when it's on the highway.
Well, you know, all those 3 theories seem to me simple enough to actually test in the shop. I think I could build a small water rig with a bubbler and some weights and some small boats, and we could see all 3 of these theories right in their shop.
Yeah, but, you know, I still think we need a real boat. People aren't going to get it unless we do it with a real boat.
Until they find a suitable boat, Adam sets out to test the vortex and bubble density theories on a small scale.
Well, what I made is a miniature bubbling rig, and we're trying to show whether or not the ship produces lots of bubbles, and the bubbles lower the density of the water and people sink, whereas normally they'd float, or whether it creates a vortex that pulls things in after it.
But Adam soon runs into some fundamental problems.
This would be the Titanic. This is a lead weight. It's pretty darn heavy. And let's say that is our person right there. Are we ready? Squat. Nothing.
To make this work, Adam has to rethink his ratios of weight, density, and buoyancy. Time to think big. Adam is building a rig 4 feet square by 10 feet high. They will then attach an electric winch and guide wires to hold a special box that will simulate the action of a sinking boat.
So right now I'm actually just finishing up the PVC matrix that will be our bubbler, and hopefully it'll provide us with a really attractive stream of bubbles. Then I'm going to make a panel for the top of this box, which has a hole in it, so that not only can we test what happens when you drop a weight in water, but when you drop a weight with an air gap in it, we can see what happens. We're going to fill this with 25-pound barbell weights.
All right.
Meanwhile, the search for the ideal sinkable boat begins among the marinas of Embarcadero Cove in Oakland, California. This hunt won't be easy. The boat they need must sink effortlessly. Any vessel too buoyant will be a problem.
There we go. The boat was a piece of junk, which doesn't make me feel too bad about sinking it. For a boat this size, it's actually got a fair amount of volume, which is what we need. It'd be a perfect boat for us, except for the fact that it's wood, and I don't think it'll go down too quick, because wood typically floats. We're looking for the largest boat that we can afford to sink quickly, and that, by my mind, would have to be a steel boat.
A heavy steel tugboat catches their eye, but it quickly becomes obvious that this old hulk is way beyond their needs.
I think this boat is so perfect for our Titanic rig, it would make me cry if we were able to get it. It does, however, look like quite a deal to make it go.
So, testing the myth of the Titanic will have to wait. Does a goldfish's memory last more than 3 seconds?
He's looking at it, he's trying to eat it.
Jamie and Adam are locked in combat.
We have to identify the smart ones.
Who's the superior fish wrangler?
Back in the Amazon when I used to train piranhas.
Oh, and does a goldfish's memory last more than 3 seconds?
This myth's a pretty laid back one, huh, Jamie?
Yeah, the myth says that you can put a goldfish in a small bowl and they're okay with it because they're so stupid that by the time they make it around the bowl, in like about 3 seconds, they've just forgotten where they were.
I think that we tell this story in order to placate ourselves and allow us to keep animals in a small tank, which usually we would perceive as being kind of cruel. And you could certainly keep it in a small bowl because every time it goes around that bowl, it's a new experience.
So what we really want to test here is what is the memory span of the average goldfish?
Well, what I thought we'd do is build a maze. And the goldfish will have to be taught how to make it through the maze. And if they can remember that, we'll know a little bit more how smart they are.
So what you're talking about is not just a goldfish intelligence test, but a MythBusters intelligence test as well.
You could look at it that way.
One that I think I will win.
So the guys want to train goldfish to swim through a maze. If they do it, they'll prove they're smarter than we think. The goldfish will look clever too.
Have you heard of the myth that goldfish only have 3 seconds of memory?
Yes, I have. Their brains are pretty small, and it's about 2% of their body weight, so you can figure that they're not going to have too much of a memory.
Steve, the pet shop guy, has all the fish and all the accessories the MythBusters need.
I think this is definitely the one for me, Jamie. It's a deep sea diver with the shark.
But the goldfish have needs too.
This is a 38-gallon. I have the best food for goldfish. You make sure that you have a good water conditioner.
Those are perfect. What do we need, 10 of those?
Yeah, 5.
5 in each tank?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the easiest sale Steve's ever made. 2 tanks, 10 fish, and enough supplies to feed a whale. Jamie and Adam have given themselves 45 days to train the fish and bust the myth. They've each got a tank, and each will devise their own training method. The competition is heating up.
I think that I shall be the best trainer, purely because of the fact that training animals requires, above all, consistency. Adam is not a very consistent person.
Turns out Jamie has another advantage. He used to own a pet shop, and he knows his fish.
In addition to his time in the Special Forces and being the international whist champion and even being a lion owner, Jamie's probably one of only a handful of people in the world who's actually trained a goldfish to ring a bell. I don't have anything like that kind of pedigree with goldfish training regimens. Oh, look at that.
Undaunted, Adam is determined to rise to the ultimate challenge of teaching fish to swim through a
I
maze.
think I'm, in fact, just gonna leave mine totally uncovered. I'm gonna kick your goldfish ass.
Meanwhile, to test if a deadly vortex forms around a sinking ship, Encinal High School in Alameda agrees to host the MythBusters mid-size experiment.
You'll have to walk
The
it.
school's diving pool at 12 feet deep is ideal for the new rig.
Oh, it's a beautiful story.
The plan is to see what specific forces are in play when a ship sinks.
At this point, I really don't know what's going to happen with this. You know, my impression is that if you're floating above a boat as it's going down, it's not really going to pull you down.
Jamie's pessimistic about the vortex theory, but he's open to the bubbles creating lower density.
I don't know whether it's going to buoy you up because of all the bubbles going up, or whether the bubbles will make the water in that area less dense, will make you go down. It'll be interesting to see. This is lead shot.
Water density is the key, so they've made a hydrometer, a simple flotation device that measures the specific gravity or density of a liquid.
We will see how much the density of the water changes by how far this goes up and down when the water is aerated. That's perfect.
Experiment 1, the bubble test.
A compressor will supply air to Adam's PVC bubble matrix.
Okay, I'm going.
All right, I'm gonna watch it. Oh, that looks cool from here.
It looks like it's going down. Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
way down.
Okay, it's out of the, looks like somebody's gonna have to get their swim trunks on.
And that was all the encouragement Adam needed on a warm California day.
Can we blur out the love handles? Be nice to me, all right?
Happy with the bubble effect, their first weight test should determine if volume makes it easier to be dragged down. So to get a closer simulation of a sinking boat, the box is positioned on the surface and loaded with 200 pounds. They hope the inrush of water to the empty box will drive the vortex effect.
Good, go. Wow.
I pulled it down.
That was intense. I didn't realize that the result would be so marked. When I'm in the water, as the weight releases, I can definitely feel it pushing this cushion of water out around it as it's plummeting. And I'll tell you straight up, based on what I see here, you would definitely get sucked down. And I think the bigger the object, the bigger the suck.
To test Adam's bigger suction theory, they increase the box weight to 300 pounds.
All right, hydrometer is ready.
Okay, going.
Go.
Nice sound. Where's the hydrometer?
There it is.
That pretty much says it.
Wow. I mean, it went all the way to the bottom and hung out there for a while.
Once again, the box filled rapidly, dropped like a stone, and pulled the hydrometer down entirely.
Hold on.
Now, it's Adam's turn to ride the vortex.
Okay, ow, first of all. Second of all, you can feel yourself in the vortex as you're going down. I mean, I did not separate from the box at all. My buoyancy had no bearing on the matter. I just sunk right with it until I hit the bottom. That was intense.
The pool testing is done, and Adam's up for the real thing. 2 boats have already been rejected as unsuitable, but after some good detective work, they find a very likely candidate. Another old tug, but at 9 tons, this one is more suitable.
It's a nice solid little hunk of steel. I think it ought to go down like a rock. Seems like it's pretty rugged. There's a lot of tie points for us to get a hold of, to tow it around and lift it and stuff like that. So I think it's perfect.
I think it's fantastic. It's totally ideal. I mean, yeah, it'd be great if it was bigger, but I gotta tell you, that 300-pound weight yanked me down with a lot more force than I thought was possible.
Yeah.
This ought to do it quite handily.
Ship chosen. Now, the preparation.
We're gonna go cut some holes in the boat.
Sinking a boat isn't easy. In British Columbia, Canada, the Artificial Reef Society regularly sends unwanted ships to the bottom. They are reborn as prime diving sites and marine habitats. To send ships down safely, holes are cut on both sides so that water rushes in and the air rushes out. Jamie and Adam may need to scuttle their boat several times, so holes will be cut below the waterline that can be re-plugged.
What we have are some large threaded fittings which we're going to weld into the holes that we cut in the boat, and we'll simply unscrew them to let water in.
Unnecessary holes are sealed so the boat can be towed. To avoid polluting the bay, loose rust and other debris is cleaned off. And they have a solid plan for bringing the boat back up again.
What we have is a cable harness which we've had constructed to spec based on the weight of the boat. And it will have 4 lines on it going to a central point on the cable that the crane pulls up. When we want to bring the boat back up, then I will have to go down in scuba gear and reattach the rear 2 lines manually when the boat is on the bottom, and then we'll pull it back up with the crane.
A quick name change and MythTanic is ready for launching. But no one told them changing a boat's name is bad luck.
So this is the moment of truth. We get to see if the valves we welded in actually work, or if the boat sinks right off the pier. My vote is that it doesn't sink. Well, all 3 of the valves are leaking right around the welds. Just a little tiny leak, but maybe we can throw a bilge pump in it tonight. I don't know. Those were Jamie's welds.
One thing Adam does not dispute is Jamie's considerable underwater experience. For years, he ran a dive business in the Caribbean.
I'm a dive master. I've done thousands of dives. I've salvaged boats. I have spent, person years in the water, basically. I'm actually not all that excited about being in this particular water. I like it where it's clear and warm and pretty, and we're going to be in the bay, and it's cold and dark and murky.
So while Jamie worries,
careful, it might roll and you get caught.
it's day 1 of the Great Goldfish Challenge.
How's it going?
Jamie and Adam are trying to bust the myth that goldfish only have a 3-second memory by training them to swim through a simple maze. But this challenge has already transcended the myth. It's a battle for bragging rights. The boys each have their own tank and fish and are vying to prove they're the better trainer. The competition is fierce.
Oh, he so better not go get a tube and feed them with a tube, because I'll kick his butt. That was my idea.
In fact, Jamie has something entirely different in mind. He's making bright plastic holes, which he hopes will be to the fish's liking.
I'm going to get them used to taking their food out of the middle of the hole by making this colorful hole that they'll easily recognize, that has some mesh suspended in the middle of it that will put the food in.
Jamie's holes are already attracting interest. But will the fish be as attracted to the holes as Adam is?
I saw one come down out of the hole. Maybe they'll start to look around and eventually find it. There we go, you're looking at it. He's looking at it, he's trying to eat it. Oh my God, he's taking the bait, almost. We have to identify the smart ones.
School is in for Adam too. He's trying to be the goldfish, to understand their needs. He has an idea. Instead of using the store-bought tank dividers, Adam is making his own out of plastic. He'll custom make the course based on his deep grasp of fish behavior.
If I get them comfortable with the fact that they can go through, perhaps they'll understand that there is a way to get there, because all they see is just this black ring that's exposed. They don't know that they can actually go and swim around over there.
So, they have their strategies, and the battle of the fish tanks is on. Adam's clear dividers versus Jamie's gaudy plastic. May the best fish man win. 8 days since the Goldfish Memory Challenge began, and Adam's got a problem. Or rather, his fish do.
It smells. Oh no! Oh no! I've got a dead fish. Oh. It's okay, something's going on. I don't like this whole thing. I'm gonna call the pet store. I'm gonna replace the water completely. Jamie's water is clearer. Mine's really, really foggy. The thing is the tank is really foggy, and then last night, one of the goldfish died. Okay, great.
Turns out the filter hasn't removed the ammonia in the water created by the fish waste.
A tank that's working correctly has a certain amount of bacteria that's grown in the filter that processes the ammonia. It actually takes like 4 to 8 weeks for it to fully take effect.
Given everything is going so swimmingly in Jamie's tank, perhaps Adam's solid plastic dividers are messing with the filter. Whatever the cause, 8 weeks is time Adam just doesn't have.
I'm trying to train them, but it turns out I'm just trying to keep them alive.
Jamie's fish aren't just alive, they're happy, healthy, and apparently pretty smart.
They seem to know automatically where the food is. I would say that even now, even though we haven't got them to go really through anything in terms of a maze as such, that the myth is busted because they clearly recognize either me or the location where the food is being delivered. They are clearly capable of some sort of minimal memory.
I think the myth that goldfish are easy to maintain and hardy fish has also been busted.
There are 3 weeks left in this challenge. Adam has a lot of ground to make up.
Oh, look, they're even growing little Jamie mustaches now. They're like, oh, thanks for the food every morning.
The MythBusters in a music store? Have Jamie and Adam given up their destructive ways? Are they replacing mayhem with Mozart?
We're looking for something in a trombone.
Okay, and like for a student,
Well, actually, we want to blow it up.
you want to blow it up.
So, Hayden, now we've got one to bust with a musical theme.
Yes, we have a trombonist in an orchestra that was playing the 1812 overture. And the trombonist decides to spice things up a bit by putting a firecracker into the mute of his trombone. He sets it off, intending to shoot the mute out over the audience. However, it hits the conductor, knocks the conductor off the stage and into the audience, knocking them over like dominoes. Blows the bell of the trombone wide open, shoots the slide out, hitting the second violinist, I believe, and burns his lips.
What's the plan? Where do we start?
Well, we're not going to be able to do anything without some trombones.
And so, to the music store.
Okay, well, maybe we'll look at some used trombones. Follow me.
Down in the best music basement, there's a band of merry men conducting repairs. It seems music does not always soothe the savage beast.
We've had an instrument that an angry girlfriend took her anger out on, and this was a Selmer Paris saxophone originally.
A sax scandal for sure. But the guys are more interested in creating a trombone tragedy.
But these are your standard tenor trombone that are usually going to be used by a lead player.
I think the low end of the spectrum is exactly where we are. We don't want to remove anything nicely playable from the world. We'd rather just take a junker and put it out of its misery.
Suppose they'll all blow up about the same.
The trombones are selected for their final curtain. Now the guys need a mute to silence the myth.
I think that's the one. I like the look.
Yeah, this is like, you know, kind of looks like it ought to be fired like a stinger, you know.
Back at the workshop, Buster the crash test dummy is being readied for his next indignity. This time, he'll play the conductor hit by the mute. That's if he can stand up.
Let's see how you're standing up. Just hold my hand. The one standing crash test dummy, actually technically in the industry known as a pedestrian dummy.
There'll be nothing pedestrian about the explosion if Jamie has his way. He's grinding up the fuel used in bottle rockets to help give the mute a lift.
I made a long tube, and we made it so that it inserts like so into the mute, and I believe this will actually propel this thing pretty good like a rocket.
Understandably, none of the local concert halls were enthusiastic about having the MythBusters come and blow up trombones. Instead, the guys have set up their own, safer theater.
He's pretty floppy. It's like trying to get a dead guy to stand up.
Once again, Buster will take center stage, though it seems the limelight is losing its appeal. It was a bold bid for freedom, but Buster will have to face the one trombone firing squad. Expert pyrotechnician Jack Morocco will be helping with this special performance.
Just another day of blowing something up.
For the first attempt, they'll be using a lethal variety of Chinese fireworks.
This is one of those myths that has a whole sequence of events that have to go off like clockwork for this to be replicated accurately.
Remember, this story is about a musician with an explosive in his trombone who apparently blew over the conductor during the 1812 overture.
I think it's going to be a nice loud bang. I think it's going to destroy the mute right off. I don't think nearly anything that we're going to be able to do is actually going to get the mute to Buster.
Continuity's good.
All right. Is everyone behind the barrier?
For safety, they'll set the charge off remotely from behind Lexan blast screens.
All right, we're all rolling. Here we go.
Give us a countdown.
In 3, 2, 1.
That was fantastic.
Those Chinese firecrackers pack quite a wallop. The front of the mute is blown out in spectacular fashion.
Did that hit him in the chest?
Yes, it did.
Smacked him head on, looked like to me.
It blew the front right off of our mute and smacked into the music stand, knocking it over, and it hit Buster.
Might well have knocked Buster over if it hadn't hit the music stand first.
The horn doesn't seem to have received any abuse at all. I mean, the mute's actually been pushed out wherever it was contacting the horn. It was really hard to get out. And actually, also contrary to the myth, the slide did not move either.
So, only part of the myth is working, and the guys are really hoping for more trombone bang for their buck.
Feel like doing it again?
Sure, why not?
You know, it's when you get really excited that I get really nervous. Is if you could calm down just a little bit.
So how much mayhem would an exploding trombone cause during the 1812 overture? Jamie's about to try out his rocket-propelled mute. As many crushed-up model rocket engines as he can squeeze in, and a little more for good measure.
Hey, Jack?
Yes.
What would you think about also if I dumped a bunch of that crap down in the bell of the thing?
Yeah, we might actually blow that whole stand over.
That's good.
And we like that.
We like that. Here you go, Jamie.
Hold your breath.
So how much is in here?
It goes all the way to the tip. So it's 6 rocket engines.
Got a regular Panzerfaust here.
Jack is torn between caution and the myth-busting credo of detonate first, ask questions later.
Well, I sure hope we don't fly beyond our limits here. All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Whoops. Well, it didn't go anywhere. That is
Won't be
gunpowder.
using that trombone.
Holy crap!
Why is he smoking so much? It looks like it did
This
hit him.
shirt's on fire.
And look, the slide's still in place.
Slide.
That, I think if it didn't blow off with that, it's not gonna.
The slide is still in place.
The mute flew out with enough force to knock Buster over. Once again, he's wondering about the MythBusters medical plan.
Oh my God. Oh, hey, that's hot.
Yeah, it'll be hot.
Hey, yeah.
And the police, well, they just want to know what the heck is going on.
Have you got your permit handy?
Believe it or not, in its wisdom, the city of San Francisco has given the MythBusters a license to wreak exactly this sort of havoc.
I think any day when we do something that brings the cops flocking to us, but then they have to let us continue doing what we're doing, is the perfect MythBusters day.
But it seems this myth isn't perfect. Buster didn't fall back into the audience, and the trombone just won't play ball.
It didn't even remotely peel off the bell, like peel it back like a banana, like the myth says.
And what we had was more powerful than any firecracker.
Yeah.
In fact, it's even more powerful than they thought. There's trombone shrapnel everywhere.
So these pieces right here bounced off the Lexan. There's a piece over there, and a piece over there.
Right there behind you.
And I heard that it felt them ricochet off the Lexan.
Yeah.
So Buster isn't the only one in danger here. But they'll try once more to recreate the myth. Jack's reloading a new trombone with even more powder.
Ready to fire in 3, 2, 1.
This myth just doesn't want to be replicated. No matter how hard Buster tries.
That's like some kind of modern art.
And the slide did not leave the trombone. We have taken this myth absolutely to pieces. This is another rarity for us. Every aspect of it is completely impossible. Hey, it still makes noise.
The rest just didn't happen. This musical myth has had its swan song.
So the spirit of the myth is kind of there, but I'd say overall the myth is busted.
I'd say we did the best we could with it, and yeah, it's absolutely busted.
It's been nearly 6 weeks since the Goldfish Challenge began. Today, all their hard work will be put to the test.
All right.
Remember, they're testing the myth goldfish only have a 3-second memory by trying to train them to swim through a simple maze. The Heinemann technique is to associate orange plastic with food. It's working.
Oh, look, they see the orange thing. They're wanting to go for it.
Jamie appears to have science on his side. Studies have shown that goldfish repeatedly respond to color for food rewards. In other words, they seem to have memory longer than 3 seconds. Camp Savage has struck troubled waters with an ammonia problem. There are only 2 contenders left.
And they just like, bang their heads in the corner over here.
The first to get fish through their maze wins and busts the myth.
Time this, starting now.
They're off and racing.
Hey guys, here's your food.
Go on, boys, there you go.
Jamie's school has learned its lessons well. But Adam's guys must have been playing hooky.
I think it's quite obvious what's happening, or not happening. They seem to be fascinated with their reflection on the other end of the tank.
Jamie's crew is halfway through and going swimmingly.
You know you want it. Look at them. They're frantic to get through there.
Maybe I should give them a compass.
Who's to say luck doesn't play a part in these things? They're through the first barrier, but not for long.
Oh, no, not back.
There's no backtracking in Jamie's tank. The first fish is through.
1 minute.
The rest of the gang isn't far behind, except one.
Interesting to note, there's one fish that is the stupidest one. There's a little red head and back, and he's the skinniest.
Adam apparently has 2 skinny fish.
I don't understand the total ignorance of this panel. It's like this wall doesn't even exist for him.
I would say that without a doubt, 1 minute to make it through the maze is a lot quicker than random.
And for Adam's fish?
9 minutes.
Day 43 of the goldfish memory test, and Adam is still behind.
Listen, I don't have any work to do on this experiment. These fish have a lot of work to do. I'm just giving them the framework with which to prove themselves for all goldfish kind.
Adam just got stupid fish. What are you gonna do?
All right, boys, you ready?
Meanwhile, Jamie's A students are lining up at the gate.
They're looking perky this morning. He's going for it.
The starting gun has sounded. Jamie's looking to go under 60 seconds.
Oh. Yay, that was, let's see, 25 seconds. It's a record. They were like, definitely, way to go, guys.
Mine are eating their own poo.
Well, they seem healthy for all that.
I know that everyone's gonna take me to task for wasting these fish's time. Hey, they're both in the second chamber, though. Oh, they go back.
Can they remember for 3 seconds? I'd wager, you bet, and a lot more.
George Barlow from the University of California, Berkeley is a professor of integrated biology and a big fan of goldfish.
I guess there's some debate about this. Does conditioned behavior actually qualify as memory?
Sure. Any task that you can, in quotes, teach to an animal and then retest later, you have a very objective way of evaluating whether it remembered it. From what you've told me, I would say, yeah, you've blown away the myth that they can only remember for 3 seconds.
And one of the purported reasons behind the myth is so that people who keep goldfish in small bowls don't feel so bad. Do you think that it's actually cruel to keep goldfish in a bowl like that?
Well, we'll never know. Adolf Hitler thought it was cruel to keep goldfish in a bowl because there was no corner for them in which to hide, and had a law made prohibiting the use of bowls for goldfish. But I think in general, just an awful lot of fish kept in aquaria are bored.
Okay, guys. Are you awake this morning?
Jamie is confident his fish are drawing on all their memory cells. It's the final day, day 45. Will they find their food faster?
Okay, that's a go.
All right, timer's starting.
There we go. We're going through 1. Now go back through. Oh, they're looking like they're gonna do it.
20 seconds.
Oh, they've lost the record.
25 seconds.
There we go. Almost.
35 seconds. Come on, handsome. Here it comes.
There we go.
Not bad at all. 40
seconds. I think that, judging by what I'm seeing, that's probably the threshold, plus or minus 30 seconds to get through. And 30 seconds, I think, is pretty good to make it through 4 holes. It's clear that they've learned, and it's clear that they do, in fact, have a memory longer than 3 seconds.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm impressed how fast that is. You know, my fish, on average, sort of randomly take between like 3 and 20 minutes to get to their food. I mean, you guys definitely know what's going on. Myth busted.
Thanks, Adam.
All right. Good night, fish.
See, it's that kind of behavior that screwed him up. It's like, good night, fish. Yeah, that helps.
Bang, bang, bang. They don't need to be trained anymore.
Does a sinking ship create a powerful drag on those in the water? Adam can't wait to find out. But unlike Jamie, during the test, Adam won't be using scuba. So in case of emergency, he has to learn to breathe from another diver's regulator.
I've been waiting half my life to see what it feels like to breathe underwater, and that's just like really cool. So I'm dying to be on that boat when it goes down. Like, I'm psyched. To have done that, like, I can't wait.
There are many amazing survival stories from ships lost at sea, especially during war. Yet none so evocative as those told of the Titanic.
One story that contradicts the myth is that of Chief Baker Charles Joffin. Now, this man was having a good time the evening the Titanic sank. He was drinking a little bit, and then the entire trauma happened with the Titanic, and he found himself on the stern of the boat as the boat was going down. He said that going down with the boat while standing on the stern felt exactly like riding down an elevator. He said it was smooth sailing going down, and when it reached the water, he just stepped off into the water without even getting his hair wet, swam around for a while, and was picked up by a lifeboat and lived.
It's test day, and Adam's excited enough to be up before dawn.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, everyone else crapped out. I seem to be the only one who's taking the journey across the bay to deliver our little tugboat right here. Yeah, it's really nice being on the bay at dawn as the sun comes up. It's quite beautiful. And our little tug, the MythTanic, is handling the trip just fine. Should be ready to sink.
Across the bay, the San Francisco dry dock workers are preparing for this unusual event. Their skill will help sink the boat and recover it.
All my life, my dad used to tell me that if a boat sinks, you have to swim away as quick as you can because you will be sucked down with it.
The tugboat captain, Greg Urban, knows these chilly, murky waters and the dangers they hold.
I'm very interested in seeing what happens. I'm glad it's you that's going to be standing on deck and not me, so I think you're going to get sucked down with it.
Despite the prediction, Jamie's still looking on the bright side.
Well, you know, it's a little brisk this morning, but at least it's warmer in the water, perhaps.
Somehow I don't think so.
With all his underwater expertise, Jamie knows this is risky. He's enlisted a dive buddy, Sean Wheelis, a professional with 13 years experience.
Tough to estimate what the visibility will be like. Sometimes currents make it better. With the silty bottom, often currents can stir it up a little bit worse. So it makes things a little harder, a little bit more dangerous, a little more complicated.
The tug tows the MythTanic out to the end of the dry dock. To make salvage as easy as possible, it will be sunk right under the shadow of the big crane.
Swing it out, swing it out. Swing it out some more.
The boat is going to sink. We're going to find it, we're going to hook the cables up to it, we're going to bring it back up, and we're going to do it again until we get too cold or too tired to do it.
Hey, Adam, just letting you know we got 50 feet underneath your boat right now, 50 feet of water. Very cold water.
The biggest fear that I have is Adam's safety. You know, we don't really know what's going to happen with this boat. The water's murky, it's cold, it's deep. This is a dangerous stunt that we're doing, and I guess Adam's life is in my hands.
Adam doesn't wait around as the sea instantly gushes in.
They're only opening one valve, one valve.
Got 2 feet of water in here now.
main job now is keeping the sinking ship in reach of the crane.
Another bump, you guys, so hold on.
The tug gives the Mythtannic a gentle nudge into position.
2 feet away. All right, you're bumping. All right, it's going down, bro, it's going down.
Surprised by the sea's rapid inflow, Adam bails out early and misses his chance. Time to reflect and rethink the strategy.
I know where it is.
The speed of descent was just like whoosh. I mean, my job, I know, was to stay with the boat and feel the suction. But I swear to God, standing on there, my body just goes, move that way, not that way. Survival kicked in at a critical moment.
While Adam ponders his next brush with death, Jamie and Sean work 40 feet down in the dark for 30 minutes to reattach the salvage lines. Question is, are they game for take 2?
Are you insinuating that I might not have the cojones to follow through on this job?
I know you've got the cojones to do it. I'm only saying.
Then what's the question?
All right.
I don't really want to. I don't think that we're going to see anything different than what we already saw with that boat. You know, for us to get in that sweet spot might take us a half a dozen tries, and all it represents to me is a lot of work. But if you want to do it, I'm game. I just, you know, it was hard.
Yeah.
It's a difficult decision to scuttle the boat again, but they need a result. They resolve to do it with the cables in place, but slackened.
We've seen what the boat does. It's nothing that scary. I feel pretty good about lowering it on with the cables still attached this time, because they're so heavy, they just go down into the water.
Okay, hold on to that end back there.
This will be their last attempt to tackle the old Titanic myth. Would someone in the water be pulled down with the ship?
You guys watch out for the cable. Don't get tangled up on the cable. Okay, be careful, it might roll and you get caught. It's gonna roll, guys.
Yeah, it's gonna go this way.
Be careful. Stay with it, stay with it. There you go. Woo! Did suck you down, didn't it? I didn't see nobody get sucked in.
No suction.
No suction at all. I mean, I could not have been more central to the boat where it went down. I sat on it, the entire boat just dropped underneath me, and I hit the water, my neck hit the water, and I never went any lower.
And what did I say?
Yeah, once again, Heinemann, you were absolutely right about how the boat sank. So I say let's get this puppy back up and call it a day. I need a drink.
So no vortex with the Mythtannic. But how do they explain the dramatic tests in the swimming pool?
In our test, we used like 300 pounds, and it went right down really quickly. The boat's not built like that. It's a lot larger surface area. It didn't go down that fast.
Well, you know, Jamie, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there is no effect. That myth is busted.
Yeah, I'd agree. You know, I was right there too. I didn't feel it. I didn't see it. Didn't happen.
You know, and with all the rigging and stuff that are on a normal ship, there are some very good reasons to swim away from a boat that's going down. It could pull you down, you get caught in the rigging, but none of them involve suction. And I know our boat wasn't as big as one of these, but with a 9-ton boat, I think you would have felt something.
I'd agree.
The Mythbusters are leaping into the unknown in their search for scientific truth.
Because I can hear it very clearly under there, and it sounds like a bad thing.
Could a scuba diver be sucked up by a firefighting helicopter and dropped into the middle of the flames? What really happens when you add mothballs to your gas tank?
It does say, warning, flammable.
And is Hollywood telling us the truth? Will a car really explode if you shoot the gas tank?
You may commence firing.
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
When will the fun ever stop?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. It's big, it's red, it's dangerous, and it's got Adam really excited.
Ooh, God, this is good feeling.
But what's it got to do with scuba divers and forest fires?
Well, the story goes that a scuba diver was found in a tree in the middle of a charred forest about 50 miles inland. And the speculation was that the scuba diver was scooped up by one of those firefighting helicopters or airplanes and dumped in the forest.
That sounds like one of the worst ways to go I can imagine. One minute you're swimming in the water, next minute you're deposited into a burning tree.
Folklorist Heather Joseph Witham knows all about this well-traveled myth.
This story has been around at least since 1987. It appeared as an internet story attached to something called the California Examiner, which is a newspaper that doesn't really exist. Now, this story has numerous variations. It appears in Australia, it appears in British Columbia, and it appears in France. It shows up in a CSI episode. You have it in the 1999 film Magnolia, and in Peter Mail's novel, A Year in Provence.
Well, I think the first thing we've got to do is actually research some of these water-gathering planes and helicopters used for firefighting and see if this is even remotely possible.
Since the 1940s, firefighters have used water dropped from aircraft to help control forest fires. Some fixed-wing aircraft skim water from the surface of lakes and oceans. But the Martin Mars, the biggest water bomber in the world, has an intake scoop only 6 inches in diameter, far too small to fit a scuba diver. However, the myth may be possible with a helicopter. One of the most successful helicopter-borne systems is known as the Bambi bucket.
We're out here at Oakland Airport, where actually the airport police have been kind enough to let us view their Bambi bucket, which they dangle from this very helicopter.
I've heard the myth before, but when I heard it, he was laying on the ground and burned to death instead of being up in a tree.
The best way to think about a Bambi bucket is it's kind of like an upside-down parachute with a hole in the center. They drop it from the helicopter, they lower it into water, and as they come up, it fills with water. They get to a location they want to drop it, and they actually pull a cable right here, and it releases the valve and dumps 120 gallons on the fire. So this is the Bambi bucket?
Yes.
It's cute. It's tiny.
All the helicopters are equipped with a mirror, so reasonably anybody should see someone in a Bambi bucket struggling.
Oh my God, it's a scuba diver! Quick, hit him with a rocket-propelled grenade!
There's just no way a scuba diver will fit into this Bambi bucket.
I think our work here is done. I think it's time to look for something bigger.
Bigger is better.
Bigger is always better.
Actually, you know, I was thinking about this, and they have these things called Erickson sky cranes. They're huge helicopters. They have a tank, and they have a hose coming down out of the tank. There's a pump on the end of the hose. Conceivably, there could be enough suction created on the end of that hose that it could actually suck a diver onto it, presumably on his torso, and then pick him up and carry him away.
The Erickson is Jamie's kind of chopper. It weighs in at 10 tons, can lift 2,000 gallons of water, and maybe a scuba diver.
Yeah, the helicopter with the pump, it is the only one with active suction. I mean, I guess it's conceivable that it could work. I'm a little dubious, though.
This is the perfect MythBusters scenario where we have about 3 or 4 days to build something that took some engineers like 10 years to develop. And I understand that what's inside these pumps, these things that they have on the end of helicopters, is actually just a propeller blade. It's not that unlike what's on the end of an outboard. So let's get an outboard and reorient it. We do a little welding. We're there.
We get to start with a trip to the boat store and go shopping?
You bet.
All right.
Now there's one that would suit us.
Whoa!
That's a 225.
That's massive. I feel like I walked into the wrong world.
It's 200 horsepower. I mean, this is massive stuff, so.
While Jamie talks serious horsepower, Adam gets nostalgic with some vintage outboards.
It looks just like a robot from Star Wars.
What's going on here? I think I found my boat. Let's see if Jamie's done talking. Not likely, but maybe we can get out of here today.
Jamie loves mechanical muscle. He wants an outboard powered by 225 horses.
The fact that we're using a 225 means that we can even run it at half throttle, still get a horsepower range that's well above what the Myth involves.
Right.
Always on the lookout for a bargain, the MythBusters have tracked down a second-hand outboard across town.
225 horsepower is a lot of horsepower. Turning a 13 or 14-inch propeller. Yeah, that's a lot of horsepower.
Yeah, look, he giggles like a schoolgirl. It's so cute.
But the pump requires a lot more than just an outboard motor. And this means a trip to the MythBusters' favorite junkyard.
Just take this home.
We came here last year looking for a tank for the chicken cannon. We're here this time looking for a funnel, which is kind of hard to make, actually. And they just have stuff like that here.
Over here, guys. This cone just saved us 2 days of work.
It looks like it might just make it, you know.
As usual, Adam's impatience gets the better of him.
So, Jamie, he doesn't know that we've got the perfect one sitting right here, blathering on. It's perfect. This is the one. This is the one we're going to use. Take it home.
Unfortunately, the funnel is part of a much bigger lot and can't be separated. Bummer.
The whole thing right here. That piece.
Adam's plan is stymied, and he's getting irritated.
And you've got flanges.
Yeah,
we could potentially we could be done with this just by cutting that funnel off and welding it onto one of these flanges.
Totally agree.
And we're done with the whole piece.
I'm totally down with that. But I can see Jamie, you know, oh well, maybe if we cut it down on the lathe and then, you know, cast it and mold it in a different material and then sent it away to be replicated by some military organization, you know, it'd be pretty simple. One of his ridiculous solutions. Can't believe that guy.
Adam's anger evaporates quickly, especially if there's a big tank to play in.
Hey, Adam, did you hear the guy tell us what this was for?
What was it for?
It was like fecal matter.
At last, Jamie finds the right funnel.
But it is separable from the other machinery, and I figure like it'd end up about there.
Looks like I have to eat my words. I'm sorry, Jamie.
The entire rig will have to be mounted on a forklift crane. This requires a frame of box section steel that the forklift's forks, or tines, can fit into. As Jamie buys the steel, he assumes that all forklift tines are the same size. That's Jamie's first mistake.
Damn, I thought we had gotten specs on these. That's why we picked this stuff.
I thought you had gotten specs on them.
I did.
Apparently not. The single central idea of this was the tines of the forklift fitting into our rig, and they don't.
But before the MythBusters build their scuba pump, it's time to hit the road. There are more than 600 million cars in the world today, and almost as many myths about them. Sounds like fertile ground for a pair of myth-busting motor mouths.
All right, Jamie, what's on the agenda now? What's the myth we're going to hit?
Well, there are all sorts of myths to do with cars, and we're going to test them, every one of them. You going to donate your car?
No.
Why not?
I'm not putting sugar in my gas tank and shooting it full of holes.
Well, what are we going to do then?
Actually, I got an interesting and intriguing email from a fan the other day, and he just might be willing to donate his car to the cause. So why don't we go check out what he's got?
Let's do it.
All right.
But who would be crazy enough to give their car to Adam and Jamie?
That's a Caddy, all right. My grandma had a car like that.
It's Cadillac Ben.
You saw us on TV and you figured, I'll take it to them. They'll blow it up.
I was hoping, yeah.
Webster's dictionary defines Cadillac as something that is the most luxurious or highest quality of its kind. And since the first Caddy rolled off the line in 1902, many consider them to be the epitome of motoring style and elegance. Until now. Ben's caddy needs plenty of mechanical help, so our resident gearhead, Scotty Chapman, swings into action.
Okay, sound effects may be needed if it doesn't start. Make me look good. Come on, baby.
Come on, baby.
What's a gas gauge say?
It's a little above empty.
Huh.
It's the gas. It's very James Bond. I think we may be onto something here.
Yeah!
Oh, yes! Come on! Everything's better with gas.
So this is sort of an historic moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we bought cars for the show before and, used them for a myth and sometimes two, but here we got an opportunity to see how many myths we can actually do with this one vehicle and if it's still around at the end of the show.
Yeah, we're going to have our share of fun abusing it, just like Buster.
I can't wait. I think we really need to christen it with a name.
Well, you got any ideas?
Earl.
Earl it is.
Earl the caddy. All right, Earl.
It's time to put those motoring myths to the test.
What are we going to start with?
Well, we have all this produce that we're going to shove up the tailpipe and see what happens. You're going to stand back there with a catcher's mitt.
It's a classic college prank to block a car's tailpipe with a piece of food. But will the car really stall?
That's supposed to eat the props. I think with the big engine in this car, whatever we put up that exhaust pipe is probably going to come out pretty quickly.
That's why we've got our high-speed camera trained on Earl's tailpipe. Time to fire one.
Lock and load.
Artilleryman Adam selects his ammo.
That's the one. Go ahead and start the car.
Firing.
That was magnificent.
That spud is out of there. But a MythBuster always wants more. Adam loads the potato deeper into the tailpipe.
Potato stuffed in there like a good 20 inches. I'm ready when you are.
That one is flying, but there's no effect on the car's engine. The banana is longer and thinner. Maybe it'll do the job.
Banana is fully inserted. You're ready to fire.
All right, firing.
That banana slips right out.
Kill it! It was like that.
Maybe an egg is the answer.
Fire when ready.
Firing.
All right, kill it.
The egg's airborne, but it doesn't stall the car. Looks like whatever foodstuff you stuff up there comes right back out again.
It's gonna throw it about as fast as you could throw it. It's not that hard.
So it's busted.
Yeah, I'd say totally busted.
Can a firefighting helicopter actually suck up a scuba diver? An air crane helitanker is the chief suspect. The MythBusters are recreating the helitanker's scuba sucking power by using a 225 horsepower outboard motor and a funny hat. The outboard weighs 500 pounds, so just moving it around is a major headache.
We could try and pick this up by with the forks, like tip it up.
We get 6 people on this and we just manhandle it up on there. Many hands make light work.
That's it's possible.
David doesn't like to do anything hastily, and I like to do everything incredibly hastily. So therein you have the dichotomy of our patterns.
After the manhandling,
perfect.
A frame for the outboard is welded together.
Go for it.
Then, the original drive shaft is removed from the outboard. For the scuba diver pump, they'll have to build a new and much longer drive shaft. Because it'll be spinning at high RPM, the shaft must be accurately machined on a lathe.
A sealed U-joint is really quite a beautiful thing.
The propeller is cut down and carefully balanced to avoid vibrations.
We're mounting the propeller the wrong way around.
That's so that rather than pushing the water down, it'll be sucked up toward the outboard. To control the water flow, the shaft must be encased in a heavy steel pipe.
What we need to finish the scuba diver rig is a pipe with a 10-inch ID, an inside diameter.
we happen to have the leftover chicken gun barrel, which is just the perfect size, and I want to cut it up. It takes up too much damn room. 2, 1.
But Adam loves his chicken cannon.
I don't think that cutting up the chicken cannon is a good idea. We're never going to get around to rebuilding it. No one's ever going to give us the time to do it, and it's gone. It's gone forever.
There's chicken guts in here.
Well, so much for Adam's feelings. The chicken cannon is carved up in the quest for the super scuba pump. Adam gets his chicken cannon revenge by playing around with Jamie's crisp white shirt.
I'm differentiating myself from Jamie. Come on.
Did you mess? Is that your shirt? What are you doing with my clothes?
How come you're not wearing your crisp white shirt? You're supposed to differentiate yourself. Now I got to wear it until you put it back on.
Is that your shirt? What are you doing? You know, mess with your own clothes. Take it off. Put it back where you got it.
I think he's serious.
Now that the shirt thing is sorted out, we can get back to work. The shaft is fitted inside the pipe, and Adam describes in detail what will happen to the pumped water.
Shoot up that way. Like that. Just a godly torrent of water.
That torrent will be vented away from the motor by angling the pipe. Scotty welds the two cut halves of the pipe together. She knows there's something not quite right.
Oh, I know what it is. It's the chicken that I'm burning that's messing with my weld. Getting little bubbles of chicken vapor.
I have several problems to solve before I start to triangulate. Man, it never ends. Just a ton of little things. A host of little things to solve.
In his rush to problem solve, Adam makes a key mistake. He suspends both the outboard and the pipe from the forklift. So when he moves the motor, the pipe shifts too.
Hey, Scotty, I need your help.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is this what the crash in the was?
Yeah.
Oh.
The problem grows worse when the temporary stand collapses. The build team shifts into high gear.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure the drive shaft doesn't get tweaked.
Right.
If it's not already.
Adam knows the shaft is vulnerable. If it bends, then 3 days' work will be lost.
Any luck?
It's a tense moment for the entire team.
Grab this one and cut it. Come on. It's whatever it takes.
I know. I'm getting it.
Stick that under there when I lift the thing up. Okay, lower the forklift, please.
Crisis averted. The shaft is okay, and pump construction can continue.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Done?
We're good, yes.
Okay.
Oblivious to the drama, Jamie finds a water tub for the rig's test run.
This thing, if it works well, is going to launch something like a Volkswagen out the end of that tube every few seconds.
The funnel from the junkyard has to be measured and cut down to fit the pipe.
Boy, I tell you, if you turn this thing on, that would be a hell of a cleansing.
I can't gnaw on my arm. Ow!
Finally, the pump is ready for its maiden voyage.
It's like a pageant for my baby.
Mounted on a forklift and weighing close to 1,000 pounds, the MythBusters rig is a recreation of the water pump on a firefighting helicopter. It's made from a second-hand outboard motor and a cut-up chicken cannon. What are the odds this thing will actually work?
I would say we have about a 25% chance of nothing whatsoever happening, about a 50% chance of something bad happening, and then the other 50% chance is that it's going to work.
Jamie, that's 125%.
Well, so sue me.
Just in case nothing does happen, Adam is quite happy to pretend. And the crowd is puzzled.
Are you on the throttle?
Can we just get on with it? Go for it!
It's just a simple matter of turning the ignition key. Maybe not that simple.
What's going on?
Push key in for full choke.
He had one job to do on this whole thing.
They gave us the wrong key. I called them up and the key doesn't match. What are you supposed to do?
While the right key is found, build team members Carrie Byron and Scotty prepare Buster for his underwater date with destiny.
How do they get these on? And we're gonna get him into a scuba suit?
This sure beats Buster's usual treatment.
Maybe we should grease him. Let's grease Buster.
With some lard.
This dummy has never had it so good.
Not getting away, pal. Right.
But Buster fights back.
Oh! Hey!
The sun is shining, the right key's been found, and the MythBusters Super Pump is ready for a test run. Jamie fires her up.
Give it a little gas.
Give it a little?
Yeah. Ready again?
Yeah, let's do that again.
It works.
Yeah, I think it actually works. I think we'll actually get our 3,000 gallons per minute.
The pump works, but it's still not finished.
What we have left to do is that we have to make a rig to hold a big hose for the output, and that's going to be a tough job, actually. Then we have to mount the screen on the bottom to replicate the real thing. It's a guard to keep things from, like fish, from getting sucked up into it. And finally, we're going to paint it red so that it looks like firefighting equipment.
I can't believe how long this took to build, considering this is totally not going to work.
I wouldn't want to be next to this when it's running in the water anyway, because we built it, and it's, you know, just as like as not to fly apart and, you know, send a propeller blade through my head or something like that.
And our resident folklorist can make plenty from death by propeller.
People like dumb way to die stories, particularly in some form of accident, and this seems like a plausible kind of accident. You could just get scooped up one day and there you go. That's why there's that familiar injunction, always wear clean underwear, because you never know what's going to happen.
Adam and Jamie have been given a car.
That's a caddy, all right. My grandma had a car like that.
And now they're trying to destroy it.
Firing.
Inserting potatoes didn't stall the engine. Time for something more hardcore.
A cracked engine block can cost you hundreds of dollars in repairs.
Engine additives are designed to improve your car's performance, but MythBusters additives are a little different.
Don't let winter freeze-up happen to you.
So now it's time to move on to putting stuff in the gas tank.
Yeah, and we really want to see what's going on. So, you know, I don't think it's going to work to just do it in the car. I think we either need to pull the engine out of the car or get another engine.
It'll help to have a see-through gas tank, too. Because of the fire risk, the gas tank must remain separate from the engine. So Adam welds together a gas tank stand. And in case one of the explosive myths turns out to be dangerously on target, blast screens are erected around the engine. Scotty starts her up.
Cool.
Nicely done. So the first myth is that drain clog remover poured into the gas tank will make the engine explode. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
The drain clog remover goes in. Time passes, and the engine's still purring.
It definitely has to have sucked it up by now, and I don't notice a darn thing. I mean, the idle speed hasn't changed at all.
And then suddenly, nothing happened.
I'm noticing a distinct lack of an explosion.
Other than the internal combustion.
Okay, okay.
Maybe revving the engine will do the trick.
Come on, Jamie, use that aim.
But the engine survives this myth. It's running just fine.
Kill it. I say kill it.
So, liquid drain cleaner.
Fully busted.
Before the next test can start, the gas tank must be drained and every last trace of drain clog remover removed.
Thank you.
The tank is carefully resealed and filled with fresh gasoline. Time for some myth busting.
Okay, Al.
He never learns, does he?
Let's move on to bleach.
Cool.
All right.
Contact.
Oh, it starts off purrs like a kitten.
Must be clean.
Nice work on that.
And in goes the MythBusters brand bleach. Jamie revs it up. Adam hams it up. And everything's fine. Until...
There we go.
We got it cut out?
Yeah.
All right, so the bleach just stopped the car from running, did it? I mean, it just cut out?
Yeah.
I'd say it's plausible.
And the bleach has another trick up its white sleeve. Next morning, the boys discover the hard way that bleach is an oxidizing agent. In other words, it makes steel rust.
Next time you start your engine, you're going to be sucking a whole lot of rust and particles from the tank as a result of all that corrosion down into the engine, and then you're done.
On to the next test. And Jamie doesn't sound too enthusiastic.
I'm getting ready to put sugar in the gas tank.
So wannabe director Adam tries to get some more emotion.
All right, Jamie, here's your motivation. It's the middle of the night. You hate your neighbor because he's always throwing loud parties. So you're gonna go to his car, you're gonna pour sugar in it. Go! Action!
Method actor Jamie passionately pours sugar into the tank.
He'll stop throwing parties now. Let's start the engine.
All right. Ready?
Ready?
Adam uses his new throttle control before embarking on another method acting fantasy.
He's driving along. He makes a left-hand turn. He comes to a stop. It's like a time bomb.
Careful you don't make any sparks on the ground there, big boy.
Okay.
The engine just keeps on running, so the boys leave it overnight, hoping the sugar will really mess things up.
It's time to see if our engine will actually start this morning with its sugared gas tank.
Well, what do you know? There's more sugar in that tank than gas, but it works. Go figure.
I'd say sugar in the gas tank, totally busted.
Gas tank myths. Drain clog remover, busted. Bleach, plausible. Sugar, busted. What's next?
Well, there's a myth going around that putting mothballs in your gasoline will be like putting high-octane fuel in your engine.
Really?
It does say, warning, flammable.
Adam pours his gas and mothball highball into the tank.
Seems steady to me.
Gradually, the MythBusters notice a change in the engine note.
It's starting to sputter.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it likes it.
Just to be certain, Adam revs the engine. The transformation is amazing. The engine sounds great.
Actually, that does sound kind of good, doesn't it?
It sounds much better than before.
Hear for yourself. This is before mothballs. And this is after mothballs.
You know, barring like a bunch of instrumentation, I'd say on the face of it, that we might have very well put a more high-octane fuel in this engine.
So the MythBusters have shown that a few mothballs in the tank seems to increase the octane of your gas. We're not recommending it because the mothballs may have some negative effect on your engine too. But one thing's for certain, you won't have any moths in your motor. When Cadillac Ben gave Adam and Jamie his car, the MythBusters made a solemn promise.
You saw us on TV and you figured, I'll take it to them. They'll blow it up.
I was hoping, yeah.
We will do our best.
And the place to try it is the strictly controlled environment of the Chabot Marksmanship Range, under the watchful eye of some local firefighters.
So Adam, what are we doing out here with all these guns in this car?
Well, the MythBusters Caddy is actually going to help us put a very famous myth to rest, one that is constantly perpetuated by Hollywood, which is, if you shoot a car in its gas tank, will it actually explode?
In countless Hollywood movies, a well-placed slug will cause the spectacular detonation of an auto. Will Earl be the next one to explode? The MythBusters know all firearms are dangerous and should only be used responsibly and in a safe environment. So, Do not try this at home. To test this myth, Jamie will have to shoot the Cadillac's gas tank.
Commence fire.
There's gas in the tank, and the bullets are definitely hitting it. But there's no explosion. The waiting firefighters look almost disappointed.
Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right in a row. Oh, yep, you punctured that gas tank quite neatly. And I'll bet you went right through the other side.
Jamie's shots went clear through the tank.
Now there's one that's right out the bottom there.
Ah, so you're right.
So will shooting a car's gas tank actually set it on fire?
Actually, not like in the movies, it won't explode. You did a really nice cluster there, right through the gas tank, no problem at all.
Went in, came out the other side, nothing.
No explosion.
There you go.
Take the safeties off.
Time to put car shooting myth number 2 to the test.
You may commence firing.
And the reason for this target practice? The Hollywood myth that hiding behind a car door will stop you from getting shot. The myth is thoroughly tested when 50 rounds are fired into the driver's door.
I suspect that we went all the way through the car, Jamie.
What makes you think that, Adam?
Earl's door resembles Swiss cheese, and it'll take some major detailing to fix his interior.
You know, Jimmy, I think we can safely say that unlike the movies, being behind a car door if you're in a gunfight is not a safe place to be. Every bullet that came through here came out here. It's pretty obvious. This is not where you'd want to be. I think the best advice is just don't get in a gunfight.
I'd agree.
Because it has a pump, the air crane helitanker may be able to suck up an unsuspecting scuba diver and drop him into a forest fire, as per the myth. Adam and Jamie have built a pump and are about to test it out on Buster.
We're at one of our regular testing facilities in Senal High School out in Alameda has allowed us to use their pool before, and we've dunked some things in it and done some tests, and we're about to do another one. We're about to pump 3,000 gallons a minute out of this pool, actually.
Come on forward. Go ahead and lower it down.
And here's where Adam discovers Jamie's boo-boo with the decision about steel framing.
They won't fit in there. 5.5, 5 7/8.
Damn, I thought we had gotten specs on these. That's why we picked this stuff.
I thought you had gotten specs on them. I thought you had made that phone call.
I did.
And ordered the steel appropriately.
I did.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
The single central idea of this was the tines of the forklift fitting into our rig, and they don't.
We have a small problem due to the fact that the tines are slightly larger than we had anticipated in the rig.
It really pissed me off that, you know, that the central idea of our rig is not gonna work.
If Adam's upset, that's his problem, it's not mine.
As usual, the MythBusters find a way round the problem. The forklift tines are lashed under the frame, and the rig is stable, kind of.
Now we get to walk like an Egyptian.
In order not to damage the concrete pool decks, a plywood track is laid for the forklift. It's a back-breaking job.
Boring.
Next to be unloaded is the tank for testing the pump's capacity.
Drag away.
And it's the same deal with the plywood again. Meanwhile, the star of the show waits patiently. Outboard motor expert Jay is drafted onto the MythBusters team. Finally, it's time for a full-scale test run. The pump is lowered into position. The rig works, and Adam's thrilled. But the sun is setting, and it looks like the scuba diver test will have to wait. Meanwhile, there's more motoring myths to bust.
So the myth is that if you have a bone dry radiator, you can start your car safely by putting cola in your cooling system?
From the first time primitive man went out for a Sunday drive, our biggest automotive fear has been the breakdown.
lousy piece of junk.
Well, what do we do now?
Call the MythBusters, of course.
Cola in your radiator? What's your prediction?
And I think it'll be fine. It'll probably foam up a bit, and it probably isn't very good on it because the sugar's going to caramelize from the heat.
Yeah.
But it's not going to stop the engine real quick. It's going to work, you know, it'll work as a coolant.
First, we drain the radiator.
It's bone dry. You got some cola for me? Oh, yeah. Let me make sure this is real cola.
Adam will make any sacrifice to bust a myth.
I always drink MythBusters cola.
Watch out for radiator reflux.
Oh! I'm now standing in a melange of cooling fluid, gasoline, and cola.
And we're only just getting started.
I picture the guy who's doing this and his girlfriend's going, honey, are you sure that's okay? And you're like, don't you worry, darling. This cola's gonna make this baby purr like a kitten.
Time for the cola additive test.
All right, ready to go. Let's start it up. We'll let it run for a while.
So far, the engine seems to be enjoying its cola refreshment, but Adam has obviously sampled too
I'm gonna go
much.
to the bathroom.
Those cola bubbles are really building up. Maybe it's time to quit.
The hell was that?
A little back pressure.
So, cola in the radiator, what's your verdict?
Well, wouldn't want to do it for long, but this one's plausible.
Yeah, I'd say it's plausible.
But what do you do if there's a hole in your radiator and you don't have a product to fix it?
We want to find out if you're on the road and your radiator's got a leak and you got no other options. If you crack an egg into the radiator, will it plug that hole? Plug away. Oh. Hey, Jamie, we got a leak there.
Is that too big of a leak?
No, I'd say that's a standard leak.
Adam wears a protective mask. Those eggs are real.
I have never put an egg into a radiator before. In fact, this whole myth of things that seem like really silly ideas. All right.
Starting.
All right.
Gotta give it a little time.
Yeah, we'll give it some time and see what it does. I mean, I can see it's still leaking.
And then something extraordinary happened.
It stopped.
I mean, it looks like it stopped right away.
Could it be that this actually works quite well? Better than the commercial product?
That's far out. I swear, I wouldn't want to do it as a permanent solution, but egg in the radiator?
Most engines eat gas, water, and oil. The MythBusters test engine has a diet of drain clog remover, bleach, mothballs, sugar, cola, and eggs. And it's still running. Our next motor myth states, if a piece of metal as tiny as a penny is dropped into an engine's carburetor, it will fall deep inside the engine and destroy it.
Penny in the carburetor, only because you asked for it.
Here we go. Oh yeah, he's tossing a penny into the carb. All right, I'm gonna rev it a little bit.
The increased rev should move the penny even deeper. Will the engine slow down or blow up?
Nothing happened.
Well,
I'm gonna go in there and look.
Yeah, why don't you go in there and look? Take a look. Take a look. Take a look for that penny.
It's just, the penny's just sitting there.
You gonna shove it in further, honey?
Down she goes. Okay, we're good to go.
All right, here we go.
I hear it, I think.
Yeah.
That penny is taking a pounding, but the engine's still running.
It's definitely not ruining the engine, but I do swear that I hear it like knocking around in there, and that can't be great. Given that tossing a penny into the carburetor is supposed to ruin your engine, our engine's still running fine. I call that busted.
Yeah. Myth busted.
Well, we did a lot to this engine, but I think we might have saved the worst for last.
Yeah, bleach in the engine oil. It's supposed to ruin the lubrication. It'll, make the thing heat up really quickly and seize up, is the myth.
Putting bleach in the gas tank was meant to stop the engine, but putting bleach in the oil is meant to destroy it.
Feel like that's enough?
That's nasty. That can't be good for that engine. Look at the breather.
Yeah, the breather's shooting out lots of smoke. Come on!
That's got to be some nasty stuff coming out of that tube right now.
Things are starting to heat up. Like a pair of evil geniuses, Adam and Jamie gloat over the engine's demise.
It doesn't sound good. I mean, it's smoking all over the place. This engine's overheating. The steam is just shooting out of the radiator.
It's singing its death song.
As usual, the prospect of imminent destruction gets Adam totally wired.
Only a couple more miles, man! We gotta get home!
And the fumes are getting worse. The noise and smell are incredible. Wouldn't the MythBusters make great neighbors?
This is the last revolutions this engine will ever make. Well, the engine got so hot that it started to set fire to the wooden cart it's sitting on.
It's still probably pumping oil around, but it's probably pretty well screwed. It may well, be seizing itself in place right now from overheat. I think that was really hard on the engine at the very least.
You think?
Looks like they finally killed it. And to prove just how hot an engine can get with bleach in its oil,
You can fry an egg on the exhaust of this thing. Well, Jamie, we've got an engine here with bleach in its engine oil.
And there's a penny in the carburetor.
We got an egg in the radiator.
And we put sugar in the gas last night.
Yeah.
Gotta love the American small block.
It's a fitting end to car capers.
but will there be a fitting end for Buster when he plays the mythical scuba diver scooped up and dumped into a forest fire? Adam will be right there with him, but first he needs a wetsuit.
Have you ever heard of anything that might lead you to believe this myth is possible?
First time I heard it, I didn't believe it, and I heard it subsequently happening in other places like in Canada or in the Midwest, and I never believed it.
Believe it or not, the MythBusters are putting this underwater myth to the test. The Erickson air crane helitanker can suck up 2,000 gallons of water in 45 seconds. The MythBusters' homemade outboard motor pump must be able to replicate those figures by filling this 2,000-gallon tank in 45 seconds.
Based on what we've seen so far, it's pretty promising that we'll fill the tank in the required time, in 45 seconds or less.
The water must get from the pump to the tank via a very heavy 10-inch diameter hose.
What about irrigation pipe? Didn't we talk about irrigation pipe? Like it's really light, I could lift a length this long?
How are you going to hold it on there?
I would consider that solving the problem of holding it on there vastly simpler than lifting a 500-pound sweaty donkey.
Tensions are gonna run high, claws are gonna come out, steam is gonna come out of ears.
Worldwide wrestling of nerds.
Oh, it's great. Look at that.
Adam, you should probably not stand underneath that right now. I'm not sure why, but... Our first task is to hook up the pump to the big hose and try to fill the tank and see how fast it goes. If we get it going really quickly and it fills up according to the specs on the real device, on the real firefighting device, then we know that we're going to have a valid test here, even if we're in the ballpark. And for all we know, it may actually outperform the real one.
As Adam hangs off the end of the forklift boom, build team member Tori makes a shocking discovery.
Warning, do not lift personnel. Do not use boom or attachment for lifting personnel. Lifting personnel may result in death or serious injury. It's the MythBuster way.
Adam ties the pipe to the tank, but how's he going to get down from there? Time to find out if the MythBusters pump will measure up to the helicopter original.
Ready? Go for it.
They need to fill this 2,000-gallon tank in under 45 seconds. But the effort of pushing the water up the extra 15 feet is too much for the outboard.
end.
He died.
So where were we?
That was 18 seconds and got halfway there. That's way ahead of 3,000 gallons per minute. Would totally beat 3,000 gallons a minute. Who's gonna do it in like 30 seconds?
A quick test to check that the outboard is okay.
All right.
Yeah,
I think that's good. Ooh, God, this is good feeling.
Yeah, that's why you...
The tank and hose are removed, and Buster steps up to the plate. We know our pump is at least as strong as the Erickson air crane. But can either of them suck a scuba diver out of the water and hold him long enough to get to a forest fire? Let's find out. Adam pushes Buster toward the intake funnel, but there seems to be no suction.
I got him right up under that thing, under its full pressure. He like lazily delayed a little bit and then sunk right back down. There was just not enough suction to hold him. I mean, his tank was in the way, everything was in the way.
That was a lot of water coming out the other end, though.
And I have to tell you, if you were a diver and you heard that sound,
You'd go the other direction.
I think you'd go in the other direction, because I can hear it very clearly under there, and it sounds like a bad thing.
But the MythBusters are determined to see Buster firmly attached to that pump. The funnel and guard are removed from the pipe, and Buster is stripped of his tank.
So we're pulling off the cowling, and we're gonna try him right on the end of the pipe. That's the worst case scenario. They don't run those machines like that, but that's what we're gonna try and see if there's enough suction at all.
Is Buster about to make the ultimate MythBusters sacrifice? It's got him. Buster is held fast. Maybe the myth is no myth. But as soon as he breaks the surface, the pump sucks air and revs dangerously.
Was there a failure of the machine?
Negative. I was stopping it from over-revving.
Without the pressure of the water, the pump's motor would over-rev and disintegrate. But an exploding outboard holds no fear for the MythBusters. They want to try again. Adam really gives Buster a shove. The pump sucks, but only till the battered dummy breaks the surface.
That is so busted!
It pulled him up out of the water a little bit.
A little bit short of a forest fire. Well, that's gotta suck. I'm glad I didn't try it. There's pieces of his wetsuit all over the pool.
Well, that's a hell of a hickey he's got going there.
I have to say the amount of suction under the pool was actually pretty impressive. I'm looking up in the mouth of this just like satanic swirling thing of death, and I just kind of got him near it, and he went like this. I mean, it was just like a magnet. It was incredible. There's no way that suction's going to carry him above the water. It's going to suck onto him under the water, but once it leaves, that pump needs to be primed the whole time with water, and he'll cavitate it, and he'll just drop off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think this ends the debate once and for all. This one's busted.
Okay.
On this episode of MythBusters, everyone's going round in circles.
Whoa!
Adam and Jamie get sucked in by a famous nautical mystery.
Whirlpool after whirlpool after whirlpool.
Can whirlpools kill?
Is everybody ready for diving?
Tori, Carrie, and Grant are in over their heads as well.
Something feels like it's dangerous. I'm not sure exactly what yet.
Snowed under by a snowplow.
There are cursed items in the world, and this is one of them.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman.
This is gonna kill you.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
That's what I'm talking about.
Joining them, Tori Belleci,
Very excited about this.
Carrie Byron,
Look, he cracked into his skull.
and Grant Imahara.
Don't say anything.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Do you care to explain what we're doing? 16 feet off the ground, standing above 9,000 gallons of swirling water, and I'm in a wetsuit?
Sure. This story is called The Whirlpool of Death. Now, this is a story that's been going on as long as man has been going to sea.
This is the mythical, hungry, evil vortex that appears in the ocean, sucking boats and sailors down to J.V. Jones' locker. That's the one?
That's the one.
Adam's right on the money. Whirlpools have always been a mesmerizing maritime menace. He might have been Lord of the Jungle, but in the face of a swirling vortex, even the mighty Tarzan was up the creek without a paddle. A canoe's one thing, but a whole ship? In part one of this myth, Adam and Jamie will construct their own whirlpool in a giant tank and bid bon voyage to some scale model ships. And in part two, they'll see what effect a whirlpool has on a lone swimmer.
I'd jump in right now.
Yeah, right.
I would.
Namely, Adam.
Go on then, let's get in.
Hold on there. This is the end of the story. We got a whole bunch of material to cover before we get to this.
The first thing they want to do is clap eyes on a real whirlpool. And they don't have to go very far.
Yeah, we're going to look for turbulence here, which means I'm pretty sure we're going to cut to some shots of me vomiting while we were doing some Shark Week investigation.
You bet, Adam. We get plenty of mileage out of that queasy constitution of yours. This time, he's taken seasickness pills, which I'm sure the boys from the Coast Guard appreciate.
So, Hector, where am I going to find a couple of currents going against each other where I might see some whirlpools?
Right around the south tower right here, between the buoy and the south tower.
And right on cue,
There's one right there.
not just one, it's a virtual convoy of vortices, all brought about by the bridge pylon.
The water that's directly behind the piling is moving more slowly, and the onrushing water that's going past it is mixing with it, and you start with swirling.
But not all whirlpools are the result of obstacles in the water. Most oceanic whirlpools form when opposing currents meet head-on. As the currents start to swirl around each other, a vortex forms in the center, causing the water to spiral downwards. In some cases, the vortex can plunge hundreds of feet. What effect do whirlpools this size have on a vessel? Adam steers straight into one.
Well, I've got no hands on this thing, and it's moving us back and forth. That is a lot of power.
Right now we're going at about 3.5 knots and 40,000 pounds plus our weight on the boat.
Adam, I tell you what, these whirlpools may not do anything but make it a little squirrely to steer this boat, but if I was in the water with one of them, I think I'd be in a little bit of trouble. I don't know that it would pull me down so much, but it'd be definitely spinning you around. See, that's like 6-8 feet across.
Yeah.
And if you were in the middle of that, you'd be kind of like, you'd be a little upset.
Yeah.
All this unfettered nature is bringing out the beat poet in Jamie.
Whirlpool after whirlpool after whirlpool.
Knew there was a reason for the beret. Man,
All of a sudden, I had an image of you at a poetry reading.
Whirlpool after whirlpool after whirlpool.
Green maw opening up to take me down. I had a pet lion.
and on that note, it's back to the workshop.
Well, obviously, it's easy to create a whirlpool in a cup.
Well, that would be a whirlpool.
That would be a whirlpool. But the question is, how do we create it full-sized?
Well, I've done it before with paddle wheel.
I was thinking about trying to use water jets to create a whirlpool, and maybe even a recirculating system.
Okay, well, we can try both in a somewhat smaller scale than the real full-size one and see what happens.
The MythBusters go head-to-head. Adam will try and make a pump-powered whirlpool, while Jamie will work on a paddle to churn the water. Adam has a small pool pump and a tank with a hole at the bottom. When the pump is switched on, water is sucked down the hole, through the pump, and recirculated. The result? A perfect conical vortex.
Oh, look at that. That would be a vortex. I'm able to maintain this vortex moving about 60% of the total volume of the vessel per minute. That means 60% of it's going down and coming back in.
And Adam being Adam, he can't resist staging a mock naval mishap.
This, technically, if this is a real container ship, this whirlpool would be well over a mile in diameter.
Here's a little boat, unsuspecting on the high seas, and oh no, it's a whirlpool. That would be bad.
So the pump works well. Now it's Jamie's turn. He's got 2 metal paddles attached to a cordless drill motor.
330 RPM. The depth of the vortex is 9 inches. All right, let's move up to the medium-sized level. I want to kick it up a notch.
Kicking it up a notch means a larger tank, a larger pump, and larger blades on Jamie's paddle. But while Adam's early results are replicated perfectly,
14-inch vortex.
That's going all the way to the bottom, isn't it?
Going all the way to the bottom. It's a perfect vortex.
Jamie struggles to come to grips with the increase in size and speed.
That's pretty much all the way to the bottom, and that's 15 amps.
Okay.
They up the ante again, this time a 50-gallon tank. Once again, the pump provides an instant vortex.
Dude, perfect! Jeez, man, it's totally full depth.
And Adams made an intriguing discovery. Each time they move to a larger tank, it takes proportionally less water to maintain the whirlpool.
48 gallons total, and in order to maintain that whirlpool, we only needed to move 25 gallons per minute. It means that as we're getting larger, it requires less of the total volume to maintain that whirlpool, which is fantastic.
On the other hand, Jamie's paddles are using more power and threatening to take off.
We still got a way to go. We're only at 8.5 volts.
Having trouble holding on to it. I'm really using a lot of strength.
There's no beautifully shaped vortex, just a violent churning.
It's more of like a huge depression. It's like you're slinging the whole ocean outward, and it's not really a suction vortex. It's just sort of centrifugal force throwing things away from the middle.
And between the two, I'd much rather get into the one that I made with the pump than get into a tank with that thing.
Funny you should say that, Adam.
You know, I've been thinking about this, and I think we also need to actually test it on a full-size person. What do you think?
Okay, I'll go in. I'm not gonna like it though.
To see how much he's not gonna like it, Adam makes a mini Adam.
So I made a scale. He is not scaled to weight to us, and that was actually critical. I wanted to see what would happen if we were totally, totally buoyant, like wearing life preservers in the Red Man suit. When we drop in from the side, whoa!
I wouldn't be at all surprised if you didn't just pass out. And if you pass out and you're in that water, unless you're tethered, you're screwed.
Once again, it looks like Adam will be going in over his head.
It's not like you're hopping into a pool full of water. You're hopping into a cone of water that drops down potentially 10 to 15 feet below you. That doesn't sound really pleasant.
Adam, you grew up in a snowy part of the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So you're an expert on the snowplows.
Sure.
Have you ever heard of a snowplow blasting a car off the road as it passes?
No, in the winter that happens without any outside influence.
Well, one of our fans on the website claims to have seen exactly that. Snowplow with its plow up, passing on a freeway at high speed, blew a car clean off the freeway.
I'm extremely dubious.
You can see where they're going with this one, can't you? They're going to get a snowplow and a car, have them pass head-on at highway speed, and see if the car winds up on its roof. It sounds simple, but this myth will push our intrepid trio to the absolute limit.
This has been like the most troublesome myth I think we've ever done.
And for Grant, one of the most dangerous.
Where do you think we should start with this one?
Well, first of all, I want to know how much energy it takes to actually flip a car.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to do. We could take our scales, so we can measure force, and then pick off a few points and just try and pull it over with a static load.
You volunteering your car?
Not my car.
Okay then, how about this one? Tori's been scouring the car yards, and this looks like it might fit the bill flip-wise.
It has a high center of gravity. It has a short wheelbase. It's got a lot of surface area being so flat, and it's really, really lightweight.
To find out what it takes to knock this vehicle off its tires, Tori lassoes it, ties the rope to a force gauge, and attaches that to a pickup. Carrie counts off the pounds to tipping point.
500 pounds, 1,000 pounds, 1,000 pounds at peak time.
Then she calculates the surface area of one side and works out the pressure needed to push the vehicle over.
I've done the calculations. It's going to take 0.21 psi to flip this car. That's pounds per square inch.
They've got their test vehicle. The other thing they need is a snowplow. Tori's heard on the grapevine where they might get one for nix. High in the Sierras on the California-Nevada border, this broken down plow has sat half buried in its wintry tomb for years. They should never have disturbed its sleep. Carrie, Tori, and Grant are about to face the curse of the snowplow. No one knows for sure how long it stood dormant in that field, but long enough for it to become a rodent hotel.
Don't let him bite you!
What's that saying about rats and sinking ships?
I feel kind of bad now. This was his home.
Somehow, they've got to get this lunk of metal moving at 70 miles an hour.
Earlier we noticed that this snowplow is only rated for a top speed of 45 miles per hour. Our target for this is 70 miles an hour. There's got to be a reason that they're rating it for that.
At the moment, they'd be happy if it moved at all.
Who knows why this thing won't roll? I mean, this thing is really old. It could be rusted. The wheels could be rusted, stuck. It could, the drive shaft might be stuck in the engine and we can't get it out of gear.
Oh, come on, Tori. Be happy. After all, you did get this baby for free. A little elbow grease should get it rolling again.
Dude, there's so much grease on this axle that I'm basically just making a barbecue pit down here.
We'll get some hot dogs, hang on.
Hey, Carrie, the rat turds are almost done.
I think she likes hers rare.
When it does get going, they'll want to know how much air pressure's coming off the plow. So Carrie builds a pressure gauge. Basically, it's a tube filled with colored water. As air pushes in one end of the tube, the water level rises along a scale marking off air pressure in pounds per square inch. An anemometer will also measure wind speed. Now, as the plow's not yet rolling, they test the gauge by bolting it to Jamie's truck and tearing off down the highway. Surely a vehicle this big and fast generates lots of air pressure, doesn't it?
How fast are we going?
We're at 65 miles an hour.
65? This is where we're actually getting about a half-inch reading on here, which is, way less.
Remember, it took 0.21 psi to flip the test vehicle. At 65 miles per hour, Jamie's truck is pushing only a sixth of that. So what hope does the snowplow have? Mr. Bellacci's already hearing alarm bells.
You're driving down a two-way highway and a semi-truck flies by you, and I've had that happen where my car feels like it's going to go off the road just from the wall of air that it's pushing in front of it. So if I wasn't blown off the road by a semi, I don't think I would be blown off the road by a snow plow.
We'll never know, Tori, unless you can get this one going.
So you're just going to cut the drive shaft?
Pretty much. All of them.
Cutting the drive shafts will free the wheels from the rusted gearbox. On the next towing attempt, the plow inches forward.
Stop. Good. Yeah! All right, cool.
So it moves.
It should work. It works. Nice!
I wouldn't get too excited, Grant. Your wheel woes ain't over yet.
One of your wheels isn't turning. It's just scraping along.
First run, top speed 2 miles per hour. We traveled a total of 50 yards. One of our tires is locked. And if that doesn't spin, it's going to create a lot of friction and it may skew the truck in one direction or the other.
And so the wheels come off this experiment, both literally and metaphorically. But shedding them only leads to more trouble.
But when we got the last wheel off, the whole axle just dropped. All the suspension is totally off balance now, so the truck is pretty much useless until we get that wheel fixed.
Well, Tori, I guess you get what you pay for.
You know, sometimes, you try to save money, on the budget by getting things for free, but in the long run, after trying to get the thing for free to work, it would have actually been cheaper to buy a brand new truck.
The free plow could wind up costing them plenty. Adam and Jamie plan to make a whirlpool in order to see if a ship really can be sucked down in true Hollywood special effects style. They also plan to throw Adam in and see if he's swallowed whole. Now, what they'll be wanting is a whirlpool like this one. It's the world's largest tidal vortex, and it churns the waters off Deer Island Point in Canada. Nicknamed Old Sow, it can reach more than 200 feet in diameter and has been known to swirl at a top speed of around 14 knots, almost 3 times faster than the eddies Adam and Jamie saw under the bridge.
You know, I was concerned and wanted to make sure that our methodology for a full-scale whirlpool was super accurate, and actually I confirmed it with a couple of experts. Our recirculating pump method is absolutely the most accurate way to reproduce a tidal whirlpool.
Great. Well, we've got our pump, and our researchers also got us a 9,000-gallon tank. So that should be, sufficient for our needs. And I suppose next we need to start thinking about the boats.
Well, we're not going to fit a real boat in there, so
obviously, yeah.
If we want to try something like a container ship, I'm going to have to make a scale one.
We should also make something like a fishing trawler, or something that is smaller in real life as well.
That sounds great.
Suddenly, a normal day at M5 turns into Christmas morning.
Ah, look at that. It's the toy every kid wants. A container ship. Gee, thanks, Dad. Now I can replicate international commerce.
The container ship model is 1 to 550 scale. The model trawler is 1 to 50.
These boats are already the correct scale and size for us. I just have to make sure they sit at the right height in the water, their displacement's correct, and then, we can run them into the whirlpool and see what happens to them.
Time is short, so he calls for backup.
We brought back Jess from the Mailbag Special.
You remember Jess. She was one half of the girls' team trying to reproduce Archimedes' death ray.
There is a fierce competition going on right now, and we're okay with it because we know eventually we're going to win.
They didn't win.
I think that they cheated.
But it's that sort of fighting spirit they need around here.
She's going to help me with some of the stuff to do on this boat, getting them leveled up and getting their displacement correct, so when the whirlpool's going, we have scale ships to test.
Jess's first job? Filling the hulls with lead shot so the models displace a realistic amount of water. Unfortunately, this container ship might have to leave port without its containers.
It's just going to be too top-heavy, so I think we need to eliminate these altogether. But we should seal up this top so that it doesn't gather water.
While Jess gets everything ship-shape,
This is gold and purple. How much cooler does it get?
Adam and Jamie are off to the local dive shop.
Hello.
Hi, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Hello.
Hi.
If Adam's planning to jump into their whirlpool of death, one or two safety precautions mightn't go astray.
And basically, it's a little tank with a purge valve. In an emergency, you would pull off that cover, hold it up, put your lips around here, purge it once, and then breathe off it normally.
Sounds easy, but just to make sure, Adam wants to test the emergency air tank in the dive shop training pool.
I know there's going to be payback, but I just couldn't resist.
Problem is, you'll never know.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
They want to see how long it takes Adam to get the tank to his mouth. Jamie plays at being a whirlpool, pulling Adam under and spinning him around. Adam's a little slow on the draw.
There was definitely a little bit of a moment of panic because you pulled me right under. Let's try that again.
Okay.
The tank starts to roll, Jamie's pulling me. Whoa!
This time he can breathe easy.
That is like the ultimate little secret agent thing. And, you know, it's what you'd want to have in your arsenal is like, dun, 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 you know, going under the water to go put the charge on the ship or something like that.
Let's just hope you don't have to use it during the full-scale experiment. If what happened to your model is anything to go by, that tank could be your last gasp. The myth says a snowplow traveling at highway speed can generate enough air pressure off the plow to flip a passing car. But first, Tori, Carrie, and Grant are busting the myth that something for nothing is always better than paying for it.
You know, considering the man hours, wouldn't it have been a little bit cheaper to get a truck for maybe $1,000 that all the wheels roll on?
In the past, people have kindly donated all types of vehicles to this show. They were already earmarked for the scrap heap. The MythBusters, well, they just sped up the process. This time, though, they need their free plow to function.
You know, it was free. That's the key word here, that it was free, so I don't know.
With one of its wheels totally frozen, the only thing this plow's likely to flip is Tori's lid. Finally, after almost 2 days and several gallons of lube,
Look at that.
Progress!
Hey!
Check it!
Hey! You got it working!
hooray, the snowplow goes. Question now is, will it stop? For this experiment, braking will be crucial. Normally, the MythBusters stop vehicles by running them into things. They are the collision kings. But not this time.
Unlike previous episodes where, our braking system was, a crash, this time we just want the vehicles to pass each other and then be able to decelerate them after that.
There's only one way to find out if the plow's brakes work, and that's to tow it along and have someone try them. That someone will be Grant. Carrie's got a bad feeling about this.
I don't know exactly what it is about today and right now and what we're doing, but something feels like it's dangerous. I'm not sure exactly what yet, but something feels really dangerous.
And that would be different from usual how?
Well, Grant, normally Buster would be in the hot seat for something like this, but not even he's a big enough dummy to get in a plow that looks as if it was dreamed up by Stephen King. Even though Grant will have a crash helmet and a safety harness, Tori's getting jittery.
I don't think we should get you going at 70 miles an hour with you in it. And I just don't think it's safe. If you can't stop fast enough, you might take another path into this, to wherever.
For this run, they settle on a sedate 20 miles per hour. And they're wise to be cautious. Let's face it, nothing else on this relic has worked so far. What are the odds the brakes will?
All right, we're at 20 miles an hour.
We're at 20 miles an hour.
Okay, ready to brake in 3?
Ready to brake in 3, 2, 1,
Now!
Grant stomps on the brake. Nothing. He yanks the emergency brake, but still the plow doesn't stop. Instead, it runs over the tow chain. The chain snaps and the plow's off its leash.
Oh.
Lucky it was only a slow tow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Whew. That was 20 miles an hour.
And we almost killed him.
Well, and okay, when the chain went to the side and your wheel actually took it, it also took the entire steering rig and knocked it. So if you were going 70, this thing would have flipped.
I hit the e-brake on the snowplow and it just started veering off to the side and it ran over the chain, which made the steering wheel violently whip all the way around, damaged one of our cameras, and it was pretty scary.
Those brakes have to work, so it's time to wheel in some professional help. Snowplow experts Pat Manning and Matt Edgman are the guys who found the plow for us.
Well, it belonged to the county. From the county, it was given to one of our other mechanics. And when Eric called up, we sent it down to you.
And we're very grateful. Now, if you could just get the brakes to work.
Things that could be wrong with it, rust, water, all those things can complicate something on a vehicle that's old.
Matt's more optimistic. He bleeds the brake system, and what do you know?
Hey, Grant, I think it's working. It's time to go for a ride.
You know, we've been out here for 3 days. This would have been the 4th day. You guys got it working in 45 minutes.
Oh, man.
That's fantastic. 3, 2, 1.
Well, sort of. Only half the wheels are braking. But after 3 days, that's enough to get Grant excited.
Yeah, baby, yeah! You guys rock! Yeah! Yeah! Okay, that's good. The brakes are working.
There's no way Grant or anyone else will be in either vehicle when the test happens. So he devises a remote-controlled braking rig for both the plow and the target vehicle. When he flips a switch, a linear actuator presses the pedal.
So I guess that's it.
Meanwhile, over at Whirlpool Central, Adam's been doing a little research.
I actually think I've come across a super dramatic account of a whirlpool that sucked ships down. In 1980 in Louisiana, an oil drilling platform on a lake accidentally punctures a salt mine, and the entire lake drains into the salt mine, sucking down like over a dozen ships.
That vortex measured more than 60 feet in diameter. Amazingly, no one was injured in the bizarre accident, and 9 of the vessels actually popped back to the surface. Jamie, however, is unmoved.
Well, that's great, but that's not what this story is about. This story is about tidal whirlpools, not boats getting sucked into a cave.
Fine.
The guys are ready to go full scale, breathlessly awaiting the arrival of their big tank.
This is our tank. It's 9,200 gallons. It's 10 feet wide and 16 feet tall, and it was specially made just for us.
First, Jamie cuts a hole in the bottom for the intake hose. The tank will have to sit above ground to leave room for the plumbing.
It is going to weigh about 45 tons, and it's got a drain right out the bottom. And we need to have some space for that, but also be able to support the whole thing. So these railway ties are a platform for that to sit on and also allow us to pump, recirculate the water.
Speaking of which, here it is, a 200 horsepower construction pump, capable of moving 4,500 gallons a minute.
Which should provide enough energy to get this whole close to 10,000 gallons of water swirling and create a vortex.
One anaconda-like hose will carry water away from the tank, a second will put it back in the top. Soon they've got a monolithic version of Adam's benchtop setup. Now, just add water. Myth-Turn Jess fills a water truck from a hydrant.
How do I know when it's full?
The truck holds 2,000 gallons, and filling it takes about 30 minutes. With the tank holding more than 9,000 gallons, it'll take hours to fill. even with San Francisco's weather pitching in.
Seems that Mother Nature is providing us a little topping off of our water tank. We're gonna do this experiment no matter what. They say hell or high water. Well, that's precisely what's happening here.
The MythBusters want to flip this vehicle using only the air pressure coming off this snowplow. This is the plan. The plow and the flip vehicle will each have 1,500 feet of towing cable attached. The cable will be fed through a system of pulleys, which will allow the towing vehicles to move away from the track.
These are our road barriers that we're going to be using to anchor our pulleys. Right now they're empty. We're going to fill them up with water, and after we're filling them with water, they'll weigh around 1,200 pounds. Trying to get these two vehicles to pass as close as possible. If this moves at all, that's going to change the course of our vehicles, and then, that's going to destroy our experiment.
The pulleys are strapped to the barriers and ready to go. But before getting the vehicles to pass, they've got to make sure Grant's remote braking rig can stop the plow.
We're going to hook it up to the 1,500 feet of cable, tow it through the pulley system, and then brake, and pray that everything works.
And just in case it doesn't?
I'm laying sandbags down for the last Hail Mary. In case the brakes don't work, it'll slow down the snowplow and we won't end up busting our barriers.
Are we ready to go?
I'm ready to go. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
How confident are you in these brakes?
Oh, pretty confident.
Okay.
Let's hope that confidence isn't misplaced. If the brakes don't work, the plow will plow straight into the barriers.
Okay, Carrie, call out the miles per hour as you accelerate, and when you hit 70, get ready for a little bump.
Okay, rolling in 3, 2, 1.
Carrie accelerates. Like some horror movie monster, the plow lurches into life.
10 miles.
They're aiming for 70 miles per hour, but the car's struggling to pull the plow up to speed. Carrie only reaches 40 before Grant has to brake.
Okay, I'm gonna brake. 3, 2, 1.
Crap.
The plow doesn't even slow down.
Oh, no! Oh, man.
Well, let's
I
see
guess
if
that would be 100% carnage.
Tori, you're 100% correct.
I think that rear wheel that's been giving us problems locked up again, and we're dragging that. I fired the actuator, and well, just kept right on trucking.
This is how things usually look after a MythBusters experiment, not before.
Oh! I just sliced them. Well, I'm not happy. We weren't able to get the truck to stop. Our steering mechanism has been ripped off the truck, so I'll have to re-weld that back on. We've destroyed 2 road barriers, and tomorrow we're supposed to do the experiment. I'm thinking we're gonna build a wall of sandbags.
At least
that might be our best bet to stop this thing.
You mean, so you spent 3 days on a remote control trigger and we're gonna put a wall of sandbags in front of it? All right, this has been like the most troublesome myth I think we've ever done.
The curse of the snowplow strikes again. Back at the big tank, Adam's itching to know if his plan to pump start a whirlpool will work in 9,000 gallons of water. So they fire up the pump and give it a whirl.
Ho, ho, ho! Yeah!
I guess we judged it right.
Oh, that is so, oh man!
In fact, it's working too well. Nature's fastest vortex moves at 14 knots, about 42 revolutions a minute, which looks something like this. But remember, they've got 2 scale model ships. What happens when they scale down the whirlpool to match?
1/50th scale? That's 1 revolution per minute.
Which looks like this. And the 1/500th scale container ship?
That's 1 revolution every 10 minutes.
which is practically not moving at all. So after all that, their scale experiment simply won't work. But leave it to Adam to put a positive spin on things.
So I think we look at this as a damage experiment. We see where the ship starts sustaining actual danger and damage of sinking, and then we calculate what the speed is and see how that compares to real-world whirlpools. All right, this is our 1/500th scale container ship. It's actually 1,000 feet long in real life, like the ones behind me.
Imagine this is the ocean. If this ship was real, it would be traveling at 230 miles per hour. And even then, it's not in any danger of being sucked down.
So in terms of scale of a naturally occurring whirlpool, that's busted. That's going 20 times faster than the fastest whirlpool ever recorded.
So it's like over 200 knots or something, right?
Yeah, it's way off the charts.
So now we have to find out what it would take.
The pump roars into life, and soon a vortex of supernatural strength opens up. Sunk without trace, I believe, is the term.
Well, it's down to Davy Jones' locker, isn't it?
All right.
That's about like, Mach 3 or something, is it? What do you say?
That whirlpool was like a ½ mile in diameter.
Well, that's what it took.
Time for boat test number 2.
All right, so this is a 1/50th scale fishing trawler. In real life, it's about 70 feet long, and it's heading towards what would be a pretty significant anomaly there. Whoa! Oh! At this point, it's going about 130 knots. And that's not creating a vortex that's enough to suck this thing down.
Yeah.
That's 4 times, 5 times as fast as the fastest vortex ever recorded.
But the trawler's not even taking on water. Jess poses the question on everyone's lips.
So what I want to know is how much it will take to suck this little boat down.
All right, well, let's start up the pump.
This vortex would be 150 feet in diameter, moving at more than 100 knots. Anchors away. And the fishing trawler becomes catch of the day.
Now, that is the kind of whirlpool they write about in fiction. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as that kind of whirlpool in that scale in the real world.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be great if it was?
I think we've already proved that there is no vortex large enough that could suck down a ship as large as a container ship. Even a 70-foot-long ship, the tidal flow required to create a vortex that could suck it down is not possible on this planet.
This has been one problem plow.
This is a cursed item. There are cursed items in the world, and this is one of them. It's everything we try and do to it goes wrong.
And how? Don't get Carrie started.
We dragged the truck and left a nice burn of rubber because one of the wheels does not turn at all. So then we tried to get the tire off. Everything's rusted shut. So Tori had to make this giant lug wrench, and then there was another tire behind that. So they just cut it off. Then it turns out that the entire truck sank to one side.
And that was before the brakes failed. Hold on. Aren't we supposed to be busting a myth here? Can a snowplow blow a car off the road? So far, what they do know is that the pressure needed to flip their chosen vehicle is 0.21 pounds per square inch. But when Carrie tested her air pressure gauge, not even Jamie's truck could push anywhere near that much. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
This snowplow is kicking our butts. There's no way we're gonna have time to test to see how much wind the regular plow is pushing.
Okay, well, I say to save time, from here on out, we build the largest plow we possibly can. I mean, something ridiculously large that's, as tall as a cab, but still drivable on the road. If that can't flip it, nothing will.
Way to cut to the chase.
I like it. Let's do that.
The plow's been behaving like Frankenstein's monster. Now it's starting to look like it, too. They weld a steel frame to the existing plow and attach sheets of plywood. They hope the added surface area will funnel a strong enough blast of air to flip the vehicle. Meanwhile, just for a change, Grant's fixing the brakes.
We had a brake system failure yesterday, and Matt, our snowplow expert, came in today and had a look at it, and he thinks that we weren't pressing down the pedal far enough. So what I've done is welded up a new bracket, and I've pushed it in.
With that done, the truck is ready to roll again. Time to see if the monster plywood plow can push enough air to flip the test vehicle. The metal missiles will be towed towards each other. For maximum safety, the cable's been threaded through a system of pulleys, so the tow vehicles can head away from the track and away from danger.
Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
The plow extension will increase drag, meaning it'll be even harder to tow the lumbering beast up to 70 miles per hour. Nevertheless, they gun the tow vehicles.
The snowplow's moving. Okay, the snowplow's moving.
And the target vehicle's moving. Great.
Nice.
Now there's no turning back. The plow hits 60 miles per hour, faster than it's ever gone before. Will the vehicles cross paths or crash head-on? They pass like jousting knights, the distance between them just a few feet. The target vehicle doesn't so much as tilt. All 4 wheels remain firmly on the tarmac. After everything that's happened, finally they have a successful test. Now Grant just has to bring both vehicles to a gentle stop.
Okay,
total devastation.
This looks like a bad thing, but it really isn't. Because
Why is it not a bad thing?
I'll tell you why. We have the snowplow driving at top speed, going across the road here, and the car passed it and it didn't get blown off the road. So we show that you cannot blow a car off the road with a snowplow.
The super plow is nothing but smashed plywood and twisted metal.
It looks like urban destruction.
I bet this is going to be a really good shot.
Oh yes, Carrie, it is. The brakes obviously failed again. Or did they? Grant's got a confession.
Forgot to activate the brake.
You didn't activate the brakes!
Well, I activated it after crashing into the barrier.
I knew there was something up because that went right through.
Yeah, well,
that was cool.
Yeah, I think that's why my snowplow looks like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Strangely enough, no one appears too upset.
I'm glad Grant didn't hit the brakes, because there's nothing better than seeing that truck destroyed because it's given us so many problems. I'm happy.
What is this?
This is the door from the snowplow. We decided to keep it. Why? I don't know, because we had so many problems with that snowplow. We should just melt it down, but I guess we're gonna keep it as a reminder.
I take it wasn't the easiest myth to bust.
Yeah.
No, we did everything we possibly could. We used an unfeasibly large snowplow, the biggest plow that our expert concedes he'd ever seen.
Also, we used a really small, lightweight car.
And we did get the car to pass the snowplow about 4 to 6 feet apart at 60 miles an hour. Nothing happened.
Nothing.
It didn't flip.
So that would make this one pretty easily
busted.
Busted?
Clearly busted.
You guys aren't looking forward to revisiting it anytime soon?
I don't think we need to.
No.
Don't write to Tori about this one.
Don't do it again.
And just to make sure the snowplow's curse is lifted forever, the MythBusters take sweet revenge.
It's over now.
The curse is over.
The curse has ended. That's it. No more.
The whirlpool of death myth has gone down the gurgler. Adam and Jamie have shown that no natural whirlpool is powerful enough to swallow a ship.
Well, it's down to Davy Jones' locker, isn't it?
But how about a person? Well, we're about to find out.
How many other people get a chance to jump into a huge man-made vortex?
Don't think many are queuing up, actually, Adam.
Is everybody ready for diving?
As excited as he is, Adam won't just dive into the tank. He'll hold onto a trapeze, which Jamie can raise or lower. Even so, it's risky. If Adam loses his grip and gets swallowed, the emergency air supply will give him just a handful of breaths.
All right, I'm going in.
All right, be careful.
Oh, that's not so bad. Okay, I'm holding onto the trapeze, and I'm really nicely buoyant, and I'm ready for the pump.
The water will be moving at the same speed as the world's fastest natural whirlpool, over 14 knots.
Starting to form, Adam. Oh, that is cool.
The vortex gathers strength. Adam starts to feel suction, pulling him down.
Whoa! Oh, wow, I can totally feel it in my feet. That is cool. Woo! Whoa!
After less than a minute, Adam's whirlpool pirouette is making him giddy. Jamie cuts the pump before he can lose his grip. Adam's body slowly stops spinning, but not his head.
Are you okay?
Have you ever really looked at the sky?
For my money, that was about as good as it gets in terms of a whirlpool.
Well, I would agree, actually. And I would say that if I hadn't been tethered, I would definitely have been sucked down by that. But, so I would say that we could conclude a naturally occurring whirlpool could be lethal to a swimmer, but not a boat.
We didn't really see it go all the way down because I was kind of keeping you up out of the water. Do you feel comfortable with letting yourself be lowered a little further to where you're going to get your head underwater?
Yeah, I don't feel that great. I feel a little queasy, but I think I can handle one more test.
When Adam says he's feeling queasy, they should know something's up, or about to be up. No sooner does Jamie lower the trapeze
Stop the boat!
and the experiment reaches its predictable, some would say inevitable, conclusion. Yo heave ho indeed.
Did you get that?
Oh yeah, we got it.
Well, that's great.
Smells like pizza.
Welcome aboard, Jess.
Yeah! The moment you gave me a little slack, my head went right under the water. It was really, really clear that even at that slow speed, the force was really powerful. Now, I'm done with science for today.
You don't look so good, Adam.
No, if I hadn't been tethered to the trapeze, I would have totally gotten sucked down. Absolutely, the force was really shocking. And to boot, I was booting. I mean, it made me really sick. There's no way you'd be able to survive that. If you were in scuba gear, you'd be aspirating into your scuba gear. That is a deadly thing we made.
Well, as near as I can tell, that was around 14 knots. That's close to the record speed that's ever been recorded in an oceanic whirlpool.
So where does that leave us for this myth? Busted, plausible, or confirmed?
Well, I would say that would be busted.
I'd say for boats, it's busted, and for people, it's plausible.
Yeah, don't get in the water if you see a whirlpool.
You okay with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Go get warm, buddy.
Oh.